We're old pros at this. All right, we are live. I am Kristen Johnson. I'm the founder of The Light and the Light Project.
And I'm Kristen Kline, and I'm the founder of Convicted Comeback.
So this
Hi.
little show, yes, this little show, or well, not a show, but we put together. We wanted like the light and convicted comeback align, and there's a lot to that. And I don't know, Chris told me she was in the shower one day because we were going to start our podcast, and she said, "How about light up the comeback?" I don't know. I called it something else. You're like, I don't know, but we came up on that, and we came up with our own logo that is similar to convicted comeback, and it's just been great. So I have some people probably hopping in that, hi, Chris. There's Callie, Chris. Um, I'm going to try to get to most of the comments at the end and not during the podcast. But so the light came about when I was released from the Arizona Department of Corrections. I wanted to stay in contact with the girls inside. So I started the light. A newsletter, and I sent it into about 40 girls and just a few guys at Phoenix West, and which are Eric Barone, Josh Johnson, and George Nolan, because they're all out now. Josh just barely got out. Shout out to him. I met these guys while they were still in prison, and I was still in prison. So our paths are really cool. They're all out now. And then it just took off from there. And it goes all through the United States now. And what's really crazy is I saw Chris on TikTok, and then we set up a call. And remember, I was like, I'm making this newsletter and all that. And you said, send it to me. And you told me I'm doing coffee with a convict, all that stuff. So,
That's
yeah.
fun.
And it just kind of blossomed from there. It just kind of blossomed from there. And now we're a force. Now we are a movement. If you guys don't know us, you should, because you should find out, because we are hilarious. Huh, Chris?
We might be the only ones that think we're hilarious,
It's
but
fun.
we
It's
are a force because
yes.
when you take something that's amazing and you merge them together, come on now. So, you were already doing something great and we were doing something great. And why not try to do it together? And you're in a completely different county half the time. So it's just amazing because, we're spreading out and that's what we want to expand, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure. And we've talked about that a lot. And oh, I'm going to start an exercise class. Oh, I'm going to do this. And it really is coming to fruition, kind of. No, it really is, because um, I'm having my first walk. It's the first like community walk, and people can jog too, but I just like, I wanted to make it a stronger together walk. And Convicted Comeback, the Phoenix, formerly Intoxicated, are sponsors of that. I have a lot of amazing local sponsors from Safford, but what is really awesome to me is that I have several sponsors from out of town. I have Sanctuary Recovery, my good friend Joey Landon, and because these things we're doing are affecting more people than just in our counties there. And in a couple weeks, I'm going to start in just like a basic cardio, because I don't want to overwhelm people, and a convicted comeback, and maybe we grow it into power and purpose, right? So yeah, we're taking it statewide.
I love that. I love that we're growing a community. I didn't expect that at first, but I love that it's turning into that. It's fun.
It is
And
fun, and it really is a community, and it is a movement. I went to a reentry um, resource fair the other day at New Freedom, and I had, so in the morning I was cold, so I had my convicted comeback shirt on, and people wanted to know about that, or I would tell them about that, or people would say, I know about you guys, or they would say, I want to know about you guys.
how
So then it got
exciting.
hot. Yeah. And so I take off my shirt, my convicted comeback shirt, and I have a light shirt on it, and people are like, I know about that too. It just was so cool.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, we had our event the other day, this weekend, and you were awesome enough to come into town for it.
So fun.
And not everything is the way it turns out to be, right?
Mhm.
But if
Mhm.
there's something that prison has taught us, it is to be adaptable.
Right.
So, luckily enough, we had Richard Beach there to be able
Yeah.
to capture really good moments and interview the team and get our filming moving along. And we're pretty much fun anywhere we go, right? So
Right.
that's the best part of this
For
because
sure.
my favorite people I get to work with and grow all these programs with. So the um, the team is amazing. We are a
It
good
is.
group of people.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
and
that. Like, tell me this. Like, let's talk about this. How much of life, right, did we live where we felt that there was always another agenda and we're always watching over our back because nobody can be trusted friend wise and nobody comes through, right? But then
right.
those that you trudge through the darkness with and you come through on the other side,
Mhm.
those end up being the ones that you connect with the most. And
Right.
on this side, it's like the bond is incredible. And I've never known better people, right?
For sure. And it is incredible. And some of that comes with, we were incarcerated together. I mean, and I was thinking about it on the way home. Rosa is a small yard. I think it's about 350 people. It can have it max, and we weren't at max, but it is just a special. It's a small yard, and we're all just became like a little family. The karaoke, the volleyball, we would always play, and I mean, just the things were so intertwined. Like I remember the day you hit your leg. We played mud volleyball. I broke my foot, and I remember the day. What up, Samantha Rucker? I remember the day that they started packing people up for Douglas, and I thought I was going to be one because my family was here, and I had gotten on the list because I wanted to come because it was so much closer to my family. And then they pack you up, and it was
Wait, it was
crazy.
you wanted to go to Douglas?
I mean, I really didn't want to, but it was 2 hours away from my family. I really didn't like, I wasn't dying to, but I had already made peace with it. I talked
Mhm.
myself into wanting to because I thought because I was from here, they were going to take me. And then they took you. And I was like, that's crazy.
It was crazy.
But you
It
were
was
right back.
crazy. What?
You were right back the next day.
That's because my mom is amazing. It took 2 days, but my mom is amazing. My mom is a fighter. And so, and kudos to those people in our lives, right? Because man, do we burn some bridges and then those that stand by us still.
Yeah, well, and we were like devastated because they were taking girls, but me and Red, we were like devastated because they took you because you had your kids. And I remember me and you both going to visitation one day, and I don't know why we were, but we both had on our boots. Like we dressed up, we thought we were really cute. We had on our work boots, which were brand new because we didn't work in them. And when I came in, Terry was like, okay, I could have gone without the combat boots. He was like, what is happening?
I
And I
love
thought
my
it was
boots.
really cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I had brand new boots. I love
Me
those things.
too. Me too.
Remember when
So
we
comfortable.
upgraded? We upgraded and the bottoms were different. I liked those.
Yeah, those were cool. I mean, they weren't cool, but they were very like I ended up working at St. Mary's and they were very stiff and not comfortable. But yeah, like
Well,
you said,
people probably are unaware that when you check in, like it's a hotel,
we checked
you,
in from to
when you
prison.
go up to reservations and you check in, you never know what you're gonna get.
Hi, I'm Kristen.
They they hand you your stuff and you get whatever there is that's
Yeah.
available, and it may
Mm-hmm.
or may not be the appropriate size. It is
Mm-hmm.
most definitely used, and
Mm-hmm.
that does mean underwear and bras as well. So good
Oh,
luck.
absolutely.
You never know.
Yeah, and they gave me orange deck shoes that were way, way, way too big, and then used bras with holes in them, and used underwear and really, really long pants. But when I first got there, well, all of us get there, and you just have the orange jumpsuit. Mine didn't have Velcro, so it was just like free
Okay.
bird. Yeah, and then this like, hi Ingrid, it just had this no more orange flap open, and I just came in the middle of the switch from Lumley to Maria, and I got stuck in RNA for 36 days. I've told you this story. And I was in there with this little girl, Crystal, and the only book Friday, CO3 Friday, had taken away all the books for some reason in RNA. And the only book we could get a hold of was like half this little book, and it was Santa Biblia. It was the Bible, but in Spanish. But it turned out to be great because Crystal spoke Spanish, and she would read out of that, and it was a big joke with the Santa Biblia. And so we went. So we, she leaves, I leave. We spent 36 days together. We make this bond, and a couple years later, I'm walking on Rosa, and I see she's teeny tiny, and I see her, and I didn't think I'd ever see her again. And actually, she would write me a few letters when she got out. So yeah, these bonds you make. We were just lucky enough to run back into each other, and then it's so unlikely that we have Denise and Tatiana and Julie and Brianna and Monix and you know what I mean? That we have just connected with, and they're just down for the cause because everybody's not.
Yes,
It's
but
not for everybody.
it's so much deeper than that, because even though they are not formally incarcerated, they have pasts and passions with, like, take Tatiana, who's in casework and social work, right? And then you have those that have incarceration or addiction or trauma in their families. And so it snowballs, which, how many parents do you hear from? I hear from parents all the time, almost daily. I hear from parents that tell me, my child's in prison and she's in your program. I wish my child was in your program. She's in a different prison. And so what we do is so important, and not just in the prison, not just community, but on social media, just like this, because we have found each other, we have found our team, and we continue to stay connected with everybody else.
We do, and that's a big part of reentry is support and connection. So almost all the girls in Caring Hearts are come straight from Perryville. I have 4 right now, and Patricia, that are straight from Perryville, and it's grant season, and it's always like, am I going to get this grant for this or whatever? But I asked the girls the other day because, I'm able to provide right now a really nice hygiene basket, cell phones, and 1 month of phone card, 1 week of tuition, stuff like that, because we have a really great grant through ACJC. And so my girls and the guys are spoiled. Like that's not the norm. But I've been incarcerated, and these are things I knew I wanted to write into the grant. But I asked the girls the other day, because they're worried about it too. I said, if you guys couldn't have got a cell phone and all of that, is it more important to you that we just show up and support you and connect with you? And they were like, absolutely, absolutely, because we would have found a way to get a cell phone, And then I feel like, I want to say 3 of those girls, I already knew them, but when I came onto the yard, they would run over, or they knew of me. When I came onto the yard for Convicted Comeback, they would run over to me, and I got to meet with them. And then there's Britannia, and so I was able to take them right from the yard and bring them right to the house. Or even Britannia, you know her, right? She would get the long blonde. She comes just to come.
Yes. Yeah. It's not just fitness. That's not all we are, and people, I think they have us misjudged a little bit, but our peer support is what we're really about, because it takes one to know one, right? Yep. And that's how we connected in the first place, is because we're living in a constant setting of those that have been through pretty much the same things that we've been through, and same story, different person, right? That's what it is. And so we get used to sharing and talking and hopefully working through those things, and those bonds, like you said, are unbreakable. And so continuing that support with those that come out is so big. And it's beyond just that, because we've connected with men. And I love that. Like, I did not see that. I know that's where you started off, which I admired. My comfortable space was what I knew at Perryville. But having men join is unbelievable. I love that. So guys that are here, welcome. Thanks.
Yes. So I'm sure you do remember. So we had our cancer walks, and we had the one on Pedro, and we weren't able to use all our donations. And do you remember I told you that there was an individual that had reached out to me? Could you bring me some stuff? I had some stuff. We left Freedom Tour. We left somewhere. No, it was in the day. I don't know. You and I had gone to Perryville or something, but you brought me some stuff for her, and I had stuff for her. She just hopped on here and she said, Kristen, I don't know if you remember me, but you came and dropped me off all the hygiene when I was at Sober Living Place. And now I work at ALOX, just got my BHT, want to give back where I can. And thank you so much, hands down. So this is the impact,
What's her name?
Who is it? Rebecca Jean. Yeah.
Stop. Okay, so she sends me messages daily. I'm in that thread. So thank you, Rebecca Jean. And that's awesome. I love that. I remember that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, it was cool because I remember too. I was like, I'm not sure where this is, but I drove over there. She came out and met me. We're so proud. I'm so proud of you, Rebecca. But see, that's she was in a bad spot, and she just reached out to me and she's like, Hey, I see that you guys help people. I just really need some help, and I drove over there and we got it together. And but that's what we do. That's what we do with girls and come on the yard. And I know you've done that with some other girls that have come out. I love all the comments we've gotten recently on our one post that says, my daughter was in Perryville, or I was in Perryville, or we get some weird ones too. Some people don't like us, but that's crazy. They're crazy. It's fine.
Yeah, I just pinned them to the top so we can all
Yeah,
see
it's
what.
amazing. And then I go back in there. It's amazing. I love the things they say too. So funny because I'll come right back at them. Funny, not
I know you do.
I mean, not like mean or whatever. I told this one guy today, he's like, inmates suck and whatever, whatever. And the only time I went to prison was when I was a CO. I was like, sir, you need to go touch some grass and meditate. That's what I told him. Scale
You sound
back.
angry.
He sounds very angry. Um, I love talking to Richard the other night because he asked me about some of the impact, the stories from inside. And I feel like we both have those. Just like
Sure.
you could share about the girls that from Freedom Tour that it's resonated with you or whatever.
Your interview was very good.
Thank you.
Everyone. I was very happy that that occurred.
For
We
sure.
really needed that footage, and I want to capture moments from the team. I want to hear from everybody,
Mhm.
and that was the best because we had a lot of you together. There's a few more we still have to capture,
Yeah.
and it's so hard because we are convicted comeback technically is like 32 people deep. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Actually, I think it's a little bit more than that right now. We have different levels of volunteers and helpers, and we have, official team members with some of
Mhm.
our partnerships that are coming on, which is
Mhm.
so amazing. But
Yeah.
um, we we're widespread.
Right.
So you're the farthest,
Yeah.
and you're what, 3 hours?
3. Mhm.
3 hours, and then you've got Lena, who's Maricopa, and then
Mhm.
you've got Chandler, Denise, Tatiana, Brianna, Monix, Jeanette. You've got what, Gilbert, Julie, and
Mhm.
so the prison is a good hour, hour and a half from
Mhm.
some of our team members,
Mhm.
and people make that truck out to the prison weekly, and that's a lot. So major commitment. So kudos to my team members, and I
Mhm.
love highlighting you guys because again, couldn't do this alone. It does take a
Right.
village.
Yeah, and you guys started your Wednesday night class, but I've been there. I've been there from the first Freedom Tour. There's this core group of us that have been there from the first Freedom Tour. I was afraid I was gonna. The last one we did was in January, and I was so upset because I was gonna miss the other two. Guess what? I didn't miss them, so the FOMO was not for any reason. While in the midst of this, while we were doing Freedom Tour, it's always been my goal to get inside the Stafford prisons and take a holistic approach to reentry and recovery. Just something different to the guys that they don't get the same things at these little prisons. They just don't. That is down in the city. The men's prison don't get so much of the sound bowls and they do yoga. But in the midst of this, I was able to start doing the light project, which kind of encompasses everything. I'd already gone out and spoke to them and read the light to them and just poured possibility into them earlier. And so the CO3 was like, sure, come out here. And so what's awesome about that is Stacy and I take sound bowls, we do yoga, we do breath work. Is Julie trucked all the way down here 3.5 hours and was with us. So, and I plan on, all of us coming down here eventually and doing a community because they asked, they're like, we see you on the tablet. And, I talk about us. We're always in the light newsletter. And yeah, so it is kind of crazy because Julie did, man. She trucked all the way down here and she just trucked all the way back.
Yep, she did. I know.
Yeah.
And we're already getting interest from other states, and so it's like if the funding's there, getting to travel and tell other facilities how we do what we do, why we do what we do. I love that. I definitely want to jump on that.
For sure. And I do have people reach out to me on LinkedIn, which about my Sunrise program, which is justice impacted individuals, like jail-based, DOC-based. And for my DOC program, I reach into them. Anyone that's rolling to my county, 6 months to the gate, I'll reach out to them. I'll send them in some paperwork. And if I send 30, I get a few back. But those ones that'll take the time to get back with me usually work down, like get out and come to my program. But a lot of them know me from the light, from Convicted Comeback. And so the Sunrise Project is something totally different as well, because people on LinkedIn will say, can I set up a call with you? And it's so unique that they really want to, I can give them pointers on how to start a reentry program. But Sunrise is so unique. We operate solely on support and connection. Oh my goodness, today I needed some help. We're having a huge Easter egg hunt, and we just needed to stuff like 4,000 eggs, no big deal. So the youth stuffed 2,000 the other day. We ended up with more than 2,000. I told the ladies, I was like, this kind of job, all you need is a bunch of convicts. We will get this done. And from 4:30 to 5:30, we got every single egg stuffed. And then we had to wait to start class. So we set up a assembly line and just did it. The guys, the girls. So yeah, it's awesome.
That just took me, for some reason, I just flashbacked to COVID. Mm-hmm. We are handing out stamped envelopes like mad because they're making up for no visits. Mm-hmm. And you know who was organizing all those envelopes? Mm-hmm. Megan and I. We were doing that with Adams. And then we would go bed to bed and hand everybody their envelopes for the week. Man.
I was on Carlos then, and it was horrible because I broke my foot, and we could only be out, and Building B had the worst cases of COVID. So we would walk and get our pads and tampons, which, you know what is crazy? During COVID was the only time that I had pads and tampons readily available, because they dropped them off at the door. But you would only get so many per person. And if you got caught if you had a bunch of them, you would get a hoarding ticket or whatever. So this is the only time in prison that I had access, if anybody's listening that I'm offending, sorry, to feminine hygiene. We were just talking about that the other night at the women's home. Catherine donated a bunch of pads and tampons. She's a doctorate student at ASU. And I took the girls at the house, a bunch of them, and we were talking about that. And 3 of the girls had just got out, and I asked them, hey, is it still as hard as it was to get a pad and tampon? And they're like, absolutely. It's crazy. Like, there'll be a box of pads sitting behind the station. It's in the middle of the night. You can see them, but you can't get them. You can't reach over. You will be in serious trouble. So
those are things that are overlooked. You never think about until you've done time there. And there's times when I'm going to the store and I have that flashback of those moments, and people, normies, they don't know what that's like. You guys don't know what that's like. But I remember when I first hit the yard, Lumley, and there was like a shortage of feminine hygiene projects. So back up. So all of you who don't know, and you guys, you go to the bubble, you ask for tampons and pads, and sometimes there's a restriction and sometimes there's not. Otherwise, you can buy some, but why would you buy them when you could get them for free? I mean, you got to buy your soup. So, but we would go to the bubble and there'd be a shortage. And so you might not get the feminine hygiene products that you want. And people were fighting over them because there wasn't enough to go around. And then, God forbid, you find somebody that's cleaning with a pad when someone else actually needed it. And that's real, because they do make the best. Feminine hygiene pads make the best cleaning rags, and
we always use a joke.
Shoe covers.
Shoe like insoles.
Shoe inserts.
She said Sam said before I left Carlos, they moved all pads out the officer stations. We had to go to yard office. And you're right, they never had them or gave 3 packs. That is crazy. So
all the way to the yard office when you need
all the way to the yard office. And they did that with so here's another thing people don't realize. You get 2 rolls of toilet paper a week. During COVID, they got really serious about that. And so I would buy my own. The thing was, if you got caught more than 2 rolls, they would you would get in trouble. So you had to keep it in the pack. But once you open the pack, just crazy. And they have like so like snapped down on hoarding or whatever. When you mentioned soups, I was out at Fort Grant recently, and the guys, especially guys that have done a long length of time, were saying they can order or only order 6 soups a week, 2 cheese a week, because they're trying to. And these are guys that are like, that's, how do they survive with no soup? Little tiny cream, those little tiny creamers, little sticks of coffee. You could only order so many sticks of coffee because they wanted to cut down on hoarding, but they just made those little sticks of coffee gold. But now they put them back on the store and you can get coffee for $10 a bag. So yeah, I didn't mean to get on here and have a whole roll about the hardships of prison, but
I wish that we could like write about them, keep a log. It's interesting. It's amazing to me what became our everyday life and our normal. And
right.
then it took that adaptation time. And then now we have to remember. So my youngest, who is 15, she and I were having a conversation. I think it was even this morning. And she says, "You were so weird when you came home." She said, "You would make me stand by the edge of my bed holding my pillows, and you would be tucking in all the edges with the creases, and I was too scared to get in and mess it up." And I don't remember that, but that's so weird. So I only did 3 years. I can't imagine somebody that's done a lot of time, because it's got to be really, really hard to transition.
Really hard and strange because I used to walk around here with my toilet paper roll, and there had to be a toilet paper roll on the back of the toilet, and it, easily accessible to me. And I was weird too, but mine was more internal. No, I was definitely weird. Like I had all this weird adrenaline. I washed all the windows when I first got home. I was just doing, because it was outwardly okay, and it was just so weird because my mind was okay. I wasn't really tripping, but my body had the worst time adapting. I just had this adrenaline just like rolling through my body, and I almost could not breathe. It was so weird. I would tell my husband, like the first day he left me home when he went to work, my daughter was over here, but I just was having the hardest time, like even getting my breath. I had a hard time adapting to being outside the prison gates. It was weird, but I did adapt, because you do.
Yeah, you do adapt. And we had to, in multiple settings, as soon as you would get comfortable, things would change. Things are constantly changing in the prison. They're still constantly changing. And so there is no comfortability, but it's amazing what you do adapt to. But I guess we are a little weird, institutionalized when we get out in our own way. I still am, from eating on the medium max unit, I hold my fork like this, and Megan will bump me. "Hey, stop holding your fork like that. You're eating like a criminal." Because I'm like eating my food and eating real fast, because some things are never going to change.
Hey, Michelle Benavides is on here, and she just said she still showers with shower shoes to this day. Michelle, me and Megan just had a conversation about that the other night, because I roll up there, I have my tennis shoes in my hand, and I roll up there, and I'm in white socks and slides. And Meg was saying, "Hey, I still do that too." And I carry my tennis shoes around. I'm a freak about my tennis shoes, anyways, because I have a lot of them. But also, it's just like visit day. I don't wear them. I carry my shoes to my car. I'm such a weirdo. I carry my shoes to my car. I wear my slides. But to this day, I do not walk around my house without shower shoes, and I do not go without socks ever, because it's just uncomfortable to me, because for years, that's just how it was.
See, and I was the opposite. I was a germaphobe before prison. And then, you eat off someone else's tray that you don't know and pick a bottle out of the trash. And then you get used to everything. So after you live like that, nothing bothers you. And so now I love to be barefoot. I'm completely desensitized. So
I can't be barefoot because we could not come out of our cube without socks. I just got so used to it. I don't like to walk around. I don't walk around with no shoes. But this one day when I worked at St. Mary's, this is so funny. that we had certain girls that did the boxes outside. They smashed them down, but they had to roll through with this big bucket, but they would roll through and just throw shit in there. And I would go down to help them stomp it down. One day there was like four of us and we're sitting on crates behind this big old dumpster, and we dumped chili in a bag, chips in a bag, cheese in a bag, and we had plastic forks. We are all sitting back there at the dumpster eating and loving it out of this plastic bag behind some dumpsters. And I was like, my family would die, but we were so hungry. I've never, and I got money on my books after whatever, but still, when I was an RNA and when I first got to prison and didn't have any money, I have never been so hungry in my whole life as I was in prison. It is the craziest thing. I don't understand how girls gain so much weight in there because they eat the two sandwiches. But even when I would do that, and I wasn't skinny or anything, but I was never so hungry in my life as I was in prison. It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, going through weekends, right? So you only get 2 meals on a weekend, and I didn't survive off of that. But you're not allowed to remove food from the kitchen, so you can't take food out of the kitchen. No. And if you don't have money on your books and you don't have a hustle, what are you doing? So
but girl, I used to handle chicken, and when I worked in the kitchen, chicken out that window, and then there wouldn't be enough for everybody, and then you only did so much, and we'd have to wait for complex and everything. But I remember a bunch of girls got moved off the yard. Do you remember this, Angelina? Because she got fired from Televerde. And then remember they stole all that frozen chicken. And so they were checking everybody's lockers. And when they went to Angelina's, they found a bobby pin in there and they just wandered her off the yard and they charged her with an escape mechanism and they moved her to Carlos. I saw her when I went over there.
I remember that. I remember that. That's crazy.
She had super short hair, but yeah, so funny.
She's on my TikTok, so it's good to see her over there. But I too, I have eaten behind the dumpster. So you have to be real strategic with your jobs. Sometimes you're in a position where you just are given what you get, or you get what you're given. There you go. But you want to be strategic with your jobs. And so once I was down a minimum, I originally was in the kitchen, and then I worked my way to maintenance because that's where you want to be. That's my opinion. But when I was in the kitchen, you take the trash, the food out to the dumpster, and then you just rip those bags open and handfuls eat it, right? Because at least you go to bed full that night.
Yeah, because I mean, and it's not like trash. You put the food in there strategically. You're not like picking up people's trays, which we ate off people's trays, each other all the time, and up people's spoons. And I'd open a bag of chicken and stick it in my locker, and have it for days. And that's why when people say now, are you sure that's good? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's good. And that's when I got yeah, and well, for sure. And I would work offsite at ACI, and we would be starving. We would be starving because we only got that. We would have to eat breakfast before we leave, and half the time we'd have to be at the gate, and we wouldn't get breakfast, and we'd get this nasty bologna and those two. And if you would have ate both those sandwiches, you would have been so full. But by the time we got back, we were starving. It's crazy.
It is.
Sam said I worked at central office, and did you see what Sam said? We worked at central office. Me too, Sam. And we'd pretend to take the trash out from the fridge, and we'd go down to the archive basement and out. So good. Oh, for sure. I loved when we got to clean the fridge out. We sound like animals, but it's just the facts of life in prison,
It is. It's true. We used to pick the prickly pears fruit off the cactus when we were walking in between for maintenance work. And then we would try to pick out the thorns and eat it just because it was like fresh. Because at that time, the food was a little bit different. I don't know. I see those trays when we go in on Wednesday, and it doesn't seem too bad.
The guys at Fort Grant, they get, yeah, for sure. They get their hot, and they get their meals like we would on medium yard. So minimum yard, you get sandwiches at lunch. You don't get the hot meal. Those guys, every time I go out there, they want me to eat a tray so bad just because they're just like think it's funny. And they'll be like, we eat a honey bun when we're walking. And they wanted me and Stacy to eat a tray so bad. And I'm just like, I mean, I would eat a tray. I don't care. There were some nights when the food was like really good. I remember we would take home certain things, and Red would make us up like a really good meal and stuff, or save tortillas. Or I remember we took Nutella that we got off of a secure pack to breakfast for like 3 weeks and had.
Yes.
Ingrid
Was
said
it,
the bread from
was it,
prison constipated her.
I mean, though, come on, you could
Yeah.
roll that thing up in a ball and it would unfold. Was it bread?
Yeah. Right. But we'd go
So,
eat breakfast on Sunday morning and we'd make it good. It was Denny's.
I love that. Breakfast on the weekends before volleyball. That was a wonderful time. That was a good memory. You just brought that back. I loved that. Wait, but I wanted.
And
Were you
remember we
friends
used to
with Red?
travel
I didn't
with
realize that you
who?
cooked with Red. That you were so close to Red.
Oh yeah, because after we got really close because we lived by each other, and yeah, and she just had a hustle. She would clean houses and I would have her clean mine. She just had a hustle. And so, yeah, we would cook together, bring our meat back. And I remember when you guys got to be friends. I remember when you're packing up your stuff and giving away CDs when you're packing up your stuff to leave. Like it seemed like there wasn't very many of us there. And yeah, we played volleyball. We made the best of whatever we could make out of it. But I think that's why we understand. And we had it good on Rosa. It's different, it's I've had people tell me right now, like crazy. I've had people tell me right now that this is some of the hardest time they've done just because of the store. And I really don't know why, but that us coming in there, it's just uplift. They love to see us. There's people out there working out that haven't worked out in years. And then I always like to say this, that
I miss my girls on Pedro because there is a handful of them that had never moved before. And Pedro is a very desolate yard. It's just getting started with programs. We were the very first program that yard had ever seen after like 8 months of being established. And it's a cell yard and it's kind of dusty. And so those girls are sad. And I miss those girls. So I'm gonna email and get us back out there. I'm shooting for April 25th, so I hope you can come down. So there's a lot of requests, and it breaks my heart to not be able to serve and see them. So.
Well, and it was, the first Ingrid, you are so funny. I'm not going to read that comment out loud, but amen. So I loved going to see the girls on Pedro, and it was a first moon, and Pedro historically has been, Shutter Island over there. So when we got to have the opportunity to do a cancer walk, and they didn't have anything and they didn't have any donations, I really was thankful that the DWAP over there and the guards, I sent them the list and they let me take in, good stuff that, plastic bags, water bottles, some chapsticks, some scrunchies. And I was really thankful. And that was really cool of her and her staff to allow us over there. And it made the girls' lives. And what I loved about the girls, they didn't want baskets. What's up, Robert? They didn't want baskets. They like prizes that people could donate and buy tickets. Most of them didn't have any money. So they said, we only want you guys to bring stuff if you can bring enough for 200 people. So we figured that out and we did it because there were so many girls and none of them that could afford it. And so we took stuff for 200 people. We got to hang out that day and it was really awesome. We stayed for like 3 hours and it was awesome.
You said they couldn't afford it. I feel like there's more indigent people than there used to be. I don't know if that's just the times, but there's a lot of indigent people. Indigent means that they don't have funding, so no one's putting money on their books. So they just get a specific items every week when the store comes out, but very minimal, no food, right?
Right. Part of there's a lot of problems in prison, but part of what's going on right now is the fentanyl problem is so severe that people are coming in there right off the street and they don't have the support because they don't have that connection to their families because they've literally been living on the streets and just what Robert said, they're locking them up kids that are homeless. And that's why, kids that are homeless and younger people that are homeless have burned their bridges with their family, or they don't know their family, or they've been trafficked. They come from horrific situations. They don't have people to put money on their books. And yeah, they have to support because, yeah, they have no support because they took off. And honestly, in prison to have a hustle now, like, what are you going to hustle? They have Suboxone on the yard. You know what I mean? And that's been a crazy thing too. But the fentanyl epidemic has changed the prison culture also. Yeah, Robert said he sees it every day. He worked in two shelters for 2 years, and fentanyl and is destroying lives, and it is. And the problem is they come into prison. They come into prison. Sorry, Robert. And they come in with a habit. Even if they don't come in with a habit, they leave with one because they leave on Suboxone. I see it all the time. Yep. They leave on Suboxone, and
yep, that's the problem too. You know, and it's speaking from somebody who is trying to keep people in a consistent state where they are taking accountability and responsible for their own actions. They have to be completely sober, including off of that medication, before they release, because most of them are going to severely struggle when they hit the streets because they're not going to be able to get their medication. And so, you know, this needs to be something that we solve inside. I have so many women, tens upon tens of women that are dependent, and that breaks my heart right now.
For sure, because one of the big problems with them being on Suboxone in there is I have people release, and you can't, at our houses, you can't keep Suboxone at the house. You have to dose somewhere else because there's been such a problem of people selling it and using other people's, because how it used to be, Suboxone was one of the biggest drugs that came in through the mail because it was easily in there. So I know people. I just had a girl that did 9 years. She came out on Suboxone. I was like, what? She came out on Suboxone. And so I had another girl that just got out. It was the weekend. She couldn't dose there. She didn't have anybody to keep her medication. I can't keep it. And so all weekend, here's where we have the problem of people going out and using because there's no access to their Suboxone. So that's crazy.
To be in 9 years and releasing on Suboxone is not acceptable.
Right. If you haven't, and Suboxone, I hate to even get into that because Matt, because I used to not believe in Suboxone at all. It saved one of my kids' life, but I absolutely know people out here that are either going to be on Suboxone or they're going to be on fentanyl or died. What I don't agree with, though, is them sending them out of prison with an addiction, because Suboxone is meant to be a step-down drug. Although the way fentanyl is now, it's a different time. There are people that absolutely need Suboxone and possibly need it long term. I have no problem with that. I just don't think it's a great idea in the prison. But, that's neither here nor there. I got to plug this computer in. Be right back.
Yeah. Well, hi, guys. Geez, Robert. So hi, you guys, everybody. Thank you for being here. We appreciate that. It's always nice to see the support, you guys showing up, especially in the evening. So I think I posted on my page I was going to tuck you guys in for bed tonight. I should be in bed. Somebody should be tucking me in for bed.
I know. Hey, Kristen, Kline, salute. Robert, you better say that to me. I'm just kidding. I love Robert. I'm really proud of him. He just became a boy of the month. Yes. Hi, Ruben. I love what Robert has done. I've seen him come out. We came out around the summertime, and yes, and he's a employee of the month, but he's had his struggles. It's hard to adjust out here sometimes. And Ruben is right. The system fails, and he said, "You guys, I saw some." It does, and I saw something the other day that the Pope said about punishment cannot be like inhumane there because it doesn't work. There has to be some sort of hope to it. That's not exactly what it says, but it says something like that. And There are people, and you know this too. There are people that absolutely need to be in prison because they will hurt people out here, and they don't want anything better. But there are people, for the most part, we're all guilty in there. There's not a lot of us that are in there wrongfully, not on what our um, yards or whatever. But there's got to be a way to make it better for them when they get out, and that Robert said, salute. Thanks, Robert. And that is where we come in. I always like to bring this up that the recidivism rate in Arizona is 39% for people that do programming like the Light Project, Convicted Comeback, just inmate run programs, or community, not just inmate, community run programs like, Crossroads goes in there, New Freedom, it's 17%. That, and the Second Chance program is amazing. You've gone and spoke there with me. It's a different, in that part of prison, it's different. We do have a strong reentry movement out here in Arizona. We really do. The people.
We do. Yeah,
us,
we do.
and
yeah.
Us, and the community out here.
Because I saw Leslie said it a second ago, because that's what it is. We know best. We've already been there. So I don't sugarcoat. Like, I chose zero excuses with intention, guys. Like, how many of us were enabled? How many of us made excuses? People did it for us. We did it for ourselves. And now those excuses are done. And so if you want change, you have to do the work. And right. Then we are the light. We are the hope, because we're all coming from different stories, different walks of life, saying, you knew us before. If you don't, let me show you a mugshot or many. And then look where we are now. And we're so passionate about it that we're going back for more, because we know it's lacking, guys. We know it.
And it's not for everybody. It's not, but they need people like us, like Sam. And she says it, and we need a light. Prison is often a dark place. We need a light in there. And that's why I wanted to, there's a lot of reasons to name my newsletter, The Light. What is to give light must endure burning. And we've done some burning, being incarcerated. And I did commit the crimes, and I did do my time. So, it's not for everybody, but it is for us. Yes. And that's what we want to do. And not all people agree with it, but going back in is something that is needed for them and for us.
The only reason people don't agree with it is because they have a misunderstanding of what it is we're doing.
Yes.
Because we have a smile on our face does not mean that it's just a party. Like, a lot of what we all do, both the Light and Convicted Comeback, our programs combined, is what? Mindset, growth mindset, teaching people, use your past, use what you have, and move forward. Like, that's your tool. That's what you have. So use it. Instead of pretending it doesn't exist, lean into it. Use it for what you need, and that's what we've done. That's why we're all so passionate about what we do, because we've already lived it and we've done the walk.
Well, and it gives them hope and wanting to do something better when they release, because they see us doing it. And a lot of these girls we've done time with, but that gives them hope, possibility. It's inspiring to them. Even the men tell me, like, seeing what you do, this newsletter, you girls in Convicted Comeback, it gives me hope. It gives me purpose. And I have had 2 guys from my project, from the Light Project, like that one. I saw Jonathan that day. I never thought I'd see him again. I just saw Mike at another event I was at. And I just got a TikTok message the other day that said, I don't know if you remember me, he said, but thank you for everything you do for us at Fort Grant. And that's really rewarding. And I have another guy that said, I don't know you, I'm from Manzanita, but I heard you speak at a graduation, and thank you. We might be the thing, and I don't mean just us, all of us to go back in, that literally changes the trajectory of somebody's life. Support and connection are very important for people releasing. A lot of these people have never had any support or connection. Whether I can offer you anything tangible or anything, I can offer you support. And if I can't offer you anything tangible, I know 10 people that can. You know what I mean? I can send you somewhere they can.
Yep,
So, yep.
absolutely. That is what's so incredible. I never realized that I'd be able to use social media to be like, you just saw me the other day. Hey, I need used cars resources. You know, I need a tablet. Who has a tablet? And somebody came through. Thank you, Tony. I forgot to make that public, but that is something that is so huge for people. And we have things lying around, right? And so being able to use our voice to speak up where others can't quite do that yet, you know, and gosh, I can't thank you enough, KJ, and our team and everybody that comes through here all the time, because it takes a village. I say it all the time, and we have to stick together.
That's right. And I have my first community event. Ruben's on here. My first, really, the Stronger Together walk. It's the Phoenix. It's us. We have my sister's company, my brother, just some great people in our community. And it goes to show, and I want people to show up and show that we are stronger together. We're a sober movement. A lot of us have been incarcerated, but it's not just about that. Recovery is about a lot of things. Just show up for our community and show connection with that. It doesn't have to be about incarceration. And that's coming up on April 11th. And it also just goes to show the willingness of people now. Everybody knows someone or seen someone struggle. We really have to continue. And we are breaking the stigma, and at least in my community. I'm going to throw out a couple things I have going because there's a lot of people from Stafford. Anybody that wants to show up Friday, we are having an Easter egg hunt. I know there's a ton of kids in our community that are not going to be able to hunt Easter eggs. Me and my people, we just stuffed with the prevention girls. Shout out my prevention girls that work there. Did like 4,500 eggs. The prevention girls ordered the eggs, got the candy, got the funding for them. So we have that coming up. So everybody come out. We're going to have prizes. The theme is communication with your kids. And then please come to our community walk on the 11th. One more exciting thing we have come up, I just want everybody to think about, is end of June, Convicted Comeback, Formerly Intoxicated, the Light Project. We got something cool coming.
Did you say end of June?
Yeah.
Okay. For some reason, I thought it was September. That's what I said today. So, okay.
It's fine.
I'm always catching up.
We could have a second one in September. No, September is when I'm doing this crazy run, whatever, CrossFit thing with Eric and them. But
oh, that's right. You're 10K. Okay, well then I'm going to give a shout out, guys, because I don't have anything on the calendar for the community yet, except our hike. We're doing Shaw Butte Mountain again until we master this mountain. And we do it every second Sunday. I'm going to bump the time, and I'm thinking 8 a.m. Yes. So I only have to bump it once. So 8 a.m., second Sunday of the month, whatever that date is. But here's the thing. If you're on here right now, go to Convicted Comebacks page on Facebook and follow, because we are posting polls, because I want to see what the people want.
Right.
It's hard to please everybody, but I would like to try. So let's do a poll, because I want to see what side of town people are on and what time of day and what day works for people if I run classes. So I need feedback.
You do have something totally big and awesome coming up, and that's Fitness Fest.
Okay, I do. Yes, I'm very nervous.
Big.
This is very scary, you guys. So I'm just going to throw it out there. I've got QR codes on my pages, all social media platforms. I think I posted it. It's like lime green and black. Okay, so Fitness Fest is an annual conference held by Janice Jakes, and she asked us to present, and what we are presenting is our prison programs, and we're bringing it to the public. We're showing them. So this is interesting because it's not just fitness. It is very interactive, and it's a little bit theatrical, because we want the people that are coming and joining the class to feel like we feel in the prison. So that's all I can say right now, but I have discount codes in the QRs on my page if you want to come. We would love to have you, so find it.
Yeah, well, we're almost out of time, but what I want to tell people is it is possible, because look at us. Like, we came together. It is a movement. We are a force. We are, and we're super funny. But yeah, follow us everywhere. But there is hope and there is possibility, and we show that to people, and we need more people to help us and be a part of our movement. And yeah, I'm really glad everybody came on and the sound worked and everything like that. It's awesome.
Yeah. Hey, look at us.
We're getting
Thanks, you
so
guys.
big.
That means a lot.
Wait, let me
Don't
pop
be
up. Oh, look
strangers.
at this. Look it.
Hey, I just want to give a major shout out to Monix and Jeanette. This is because of them. I love that. I love those shirts. Shout out to Teresa. Thank you for those incredible shirts. I love them. We have a new merch line, guys, coming out. So right now, I think we have a couple more on the clearance list. Again, you can find that on my social media pages or DM me, and I will send you the link privately. But we're going to come out with some new merch, and I'm so excited.
I literally almost bought all the clearance merch because I work out of them. I
You
wear
did.
them. Yeah.
You did, yeah. Yeah, and
But
they're
I,
cute because you can cut them and cut them
yep.
the sleeves. Lena cut the sleeves off of one, and it's super cute.
But I do want to, I need to give a shout out to the Graham County Substance Abuse Coalition and all the support they give me when I want to go to a convicted comeback event. They're like, yeah, go, because I get to meet with girls from my county. And we do have a really awesome prevention team. Recovery is amazing, but prevention is where it's at. Bye, Ingrid.
Good night,
Prevention is
Ingrid.
where it is. So we can meet them before it comes a problem, meet them where they're at. We both know we both have teenagers. So
Yes, yes. Yeah, and thank you to them too because they are very supportive
mhm.
and always sending you out because I am shocked how many women get out and they're going to your county. So it's really awesome to be able to connect them with you when you're not with us in Perryville because we're 3-4 hours away from you. Women ask, "Where's the other Kristen?" You know, because
Yeah.
you're their hope of where they're going, stability
Well,
afterward.
and a lot of that goes to also is until they've seen me or seen me there or heard about me that I have this program, they're going to go somewhere down there. Girl, they're from a small town. They're going to go somewhere down there and they're going to get lost in the sauce. I've even had people tell me that girls from Safford, when they get out and go down there, they end up losing them and coming right back in. They need to come home. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but now we have a house for them. We have great support for them. We have great house managers, and a lot of that is to do with convicted comeback. That I've gotten so many girls because they don't know there's a place here.
Okay,
All
well
right,
then
well,
I'll
we're out of
I'll
time.
I'll close with this because closed mouths don't get fed. So I, Kristen Kline, am looking for specific funding, sponsorship, and partnership. Convicted Comeback is completely fueled by community support at this time.
Mhm.
So we are looking for some people or companies and organizations that want to truly invest in the growth of Convicted Comeback and all of its peer support that we are able to offer because ultimately our goal is also transitional and reentry housing and full wellness women's support so that we can do exactly what you're doing on a scale that we need out here too. So thank you for leading the way and hopefully we will be directed to the right people.
Yeah, and some guy said on our post today, I did time at that prison. I know people, and I've never heard of you too. And I said, well, if you haven't heard of us, you're under a rock because guess what? I've never really heard of you. But you ask somebody in the reentry space or in a prison, they know us. They know
It's
us,
true.
and we're
It's
here
true.
to stay. All right, everybody. Thanks for logging on. I'm glad it went so much smoother this time. We'll be putting out some reels, and yeah, see everybody.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you. Good night.
Good night.